Okay, good morning class. So today we'll be going through paper 1. Okay, so for our first question, x to the power of 9 equals 9 to the power of 0. So first thing we need to do is to calculate what 9 to the power of 0 would give you, and that would give you 1. And we know that the only number that could possibly give you the answer of 1 would be if x was equals to 1. So that is your answer. So if you don't understand this part, is because 1 to the power of anything will always give you 1. So for example, 1 square gives you 1, 1 to the power of 3 gives you 1, 1 to the power of 4 gives you 1. So we know that 1 to the power of 9 will also give you 1. Okay, so for the next question is to simplify this fraction over here. So the first step that we'll have to do is to convert it into a times. So you will have to change the fraction and flip it so that it becomes 9y squared over x. After that, you can cancel out the common factors. So for example, you see a y here, you can cancel it out. You see an x here, you can cancel it out. So that would give you 9yx over 3. So after that, you just need to simplify it by taking 9 divided by 3, which is 3yx. So that is your answer. Okay, so for the next question is to factorize 2p minus 2q minus p squared plus pq. So the first thing you want to do is to take out common factors. So for example, the common factor of 2p minus 2q is 2. So what you do is that you copy the rest like this. Okay, and then the next common factor for p squared minus p squared plus pq would be a minus p. So this would be p, and because this is a plus sign over here, you know that minus times minus would give you a plus. So that's why you have to put in a minus here to give you p minus q. So after this, you realize that there is another common factor, p minus q. So for that, you can factorize it and take it out, and then you copy 2 minus p. So that would be your answer. Okay, so for the next question, they want us to write this in a single fraction in its simplest form. Okay, so first thing you want to do is that you notice that 3 minus x squared is similar to x minus 3. So there is a way that we can make it into a single fraction, and that would be to change 3 minus x squared into x minus 3 squared. Okay, so we know that 3 minus x squared is the same as x minus 3 squared. Okay, so you do it like this. Okay, then after that, to make it into a single fraction, you have to multiply this fraction over here with x minus 3. Okay, so you will get 5x over x minus 3 squared, like this, minus 1 times x minus 3, like this. Okay, then after that, you will just have to expand it, and you will get 5x minus x plus 3 over x minus 3 squared. Then you simplify it, and you get 4x plus 3 over x minus 3 squared. And that is your answer. Question. On the Venn diagram, shade the region which represents A prime intersection with B. Okay, so for this, we can use two different colors to show where we are supposed to shade it. Okay, so for A prime, okay, it's basically any area which is outside of the A circle. Okay, and that would be this entire area. Okay, so this entire part. Okay, and then for B, okay, it would just be this area. Okay, so all we need to find is the area which the two colors overlap, and that would be this area over here. Okay, so the answer would be the area which is shaded in orange over here. Okay, so for the next question, given that P is a subset of Q, simplify P union Q whole thing prime. Okay, so and then they allowed us to use this space below to help us visualize it. Okay, so for the first step, P is a subset of Q. So this means that P, okay, is within Q. So it should look something like that. After that, okay, we find P union Q. So this means that any part that has P or has Q. Okay, so we know that P would be this circle here, and Q, okay, is the bigger circle here. So this entire part. And they want us to find P union Q. So you can think of this like as the areas of P plus Q. So that would be the entire area shaded in pink over here. Okay, so when they say prime, it means any area which is except for this selected area. Okay, so P union Q prime would be this area shaded in purple, this entire area, because it is outside of P union Q. Okay, so all you have to do, so after you see that this is the area, okay, you can see that actually P union Q prime is the same as Q prime, because it is basically the space which is outside of the area of Q. So for the next question, question number 5, a shuttle bus is due to arrive at the ABC station at a certain time every morning. The numbers of minutes by which the bus was late on 10 successive days are shown below. Okay, so they have 3 minutes, 0 minutes, minus 2 minutes, which means they arrived 2 minutes earlier, or minus 3, etc., etc. So now they want us to explain the meaning of the number minus 2. Okay, so this means that the bus was early by 2 minutes. The bus was early, by 2 minutes. Okay, so for the next part, they want us to find the mean number of minutes by which the bus was late. Okay, so for this, okay, you remember the formula to find the mean, which is to add up everything and then divide by the number of days. So we know that the mean, okay, let's have it like this, okay, would be divided by 10 because there are 10 successive days. Okay, so all we need to do is to add up all the different numbers that they have given us and divide it by 10. So you put this into your calculator and you will get 3 minutes. And that would be your answer. Okay, so for the next question, given that P is a positive integer, write down the expressions for the next two even numbers after 2P minus 1. Okay, so we know that for even numbers, they are in consecutive order and they differ by a factor of 2. So for example, you have 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, so each next consecutive even number is separated by a factor of 2. So it's plus 2, and then plus 2 over here. Okay, so how we find the next two even numbers would be to add 2 to the expression that they gave us, which is 2p minus 1. So the first thing we want to do is to simplify 2p minus 1 to give you 2p minus 2. Okay, so for the first next even number, you will have to do 2p minus 2 plus 2, okay, which will give you 2p. So this is your first answer. And then from 2p, you find the next even number, and then you just add 2. So it will be 2p plus 2. So that would be your answer. The next question, find in its simplest form an expression for the sum of the squares of these three even numbers. Okay, so what you have to do is, okay, to write down all your three even numbers first. So that would be 2p minus 2 plus 2p plus 2p plus 2. Okay, so they want us to add up the sum of the squares of these even numbers. So what you have to do is to square all three numbers, and then the next step would be to simplify. Okay, so from this you just want to expand it, and you will get 2p squared, okay, minus 2 times 2p times 2 plus minus 2 squared plus 4p squared plus 2p squared plus 2p 2 plus 2 squared. So after that you have to simplify it. So 2p squared will give you 4p squared, and this would then give you 8p, okay, and then you plus 4, then you plus 4p squared, and then you get another 4p squared, okay, then you add 8p plus 4, okay, and then after that you just simplify it. So to make things easier, okay, I will highlight all the p squareds, okay, so you have 4p squared plus 4p squared plus 4p squared, and that would give you 12p squared, okay. After that, minus 8p plus 8p, so that will give you 0p, and then lastly you have 4 plus 4, and that will give you plus 8, and that would be your answer. Explain why this sum is a multiple of 4. Okay, so for this we want to show that we are able to take out 4 as a common factor. So 12p squared plus 8. Okay, what we can do is that we can take out number 4 here, and then we can factorize it to give you 3p squared plus 2. Okay, so that when you multiply it like this, you would get back 12p squared plus 8. Okay, so since you can take out the number 4 here as a factor, it is a multiple of 4. So we can explain it saying, hence, the sum has a factor of 4. And this means the sum is a multiple of 4. And that would be your answer. Okay, so for the next question, express 40 and 138 as a product of their prime factors. Okay, so we know that prime factors or prime numbers, okay, are numbers that are only divisible by itself as well as 1. So for example, prime numbers would be numbers like 2, 3, 5, 7. So they can only be divisible by 1 and as well as its own number. Okay, so to find the product of their prime factors, we can use repeated division. So for example, for 40, okay, what we can do is that we draw something like this, okay, and we put 40 over here. So after this, you will find that you must start with the smallest prime number, so which is 2. So 40 divided by 2 over here will give you 20. And we see that 20 can also be divided by 2, okay, which will give you 10. And for 10, it can also be divided by 2 to give you 5, okay. And we know that 5 is a prime number, so we stop there. And so 40 would actually be the same as 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, which is the same as 2 to the power of 3 times 5. So that would be the answer for 40. And for 138, we can do the same thing. Okay, so you take 138 divided by 2, okay, which would give you 138 divided by 2, 69. And after that, you realize that 69 can not be divided by 2. So you move on to the next number, which is 3. And we realize that 69 can be divided by 3. So we put it here. And 69 divided by 3 would give you 23. And 23 is actually a prime number. So we stop there. And 138 would be 2 times 3 times 23. And that would be your answer. Okay, so for the next question, hence, find the smallest positive integer k such that 138k is divisible by 40. So 138k is divisible by 40. So because we worked out the prime factors of the numbers just now, we can copy it down. So 138 is the same as 2 times 3 times 23 times k, and 40 would be the same as 2 to the power of 3 times 5. Okay, so for it to be divisible, you would have to make sure that everything can be cancelled out. So right now we see that 2 can be cancelled out and it will give you a remainder of 2 squared, and then 3 and 23 they cannot be divisible by either, but you still have a remainder of 2 squared times 5 over here. So that's why k would be 2 squared times 5. Okay, and this will give you 20.